Yep, that's right. It's another string library. I can't help myself when it comes to these things. This time around, it's United Strings of Europe from Audict. There are some unique aspects about this library, and there are some caveats also. So I'll show you what's what. First, take a listen. Straight up, this library sounds lush, detailed and focused, with just the right amount of emotive air. We get legato and portamento separated, which is handy if you're heavy-handed on the keys. Keep these sliders to the right if you want to hear the full transition. Next we get tremeloes. Then harmonics. Trills, which are played by hitting two adjacent keys for a minor or major trill. We get pizzicatos. And then we come to what I believe is the library's strong point, the two short articulations. I've always been critical of short articulations in libraries. Most comprehensive string libraries sport a standard selection of short notes that sound okay, but are slightly too masculine. Then there are string libraries that provide a slew of short articulations, but none are really well balanced for varied application. Variances in performance, experimenting, editing, and conducting all often have a slightly off-kilter effect on most short notes in string libraries, and it's hard to find ones that really provide a high level of balance. A couple of libraries that sport well-balanced short notes are Cinematic Studio Strings and Trailer Strings, for example. When I sat down and put United Strings of Europe's short notes through my rigorous testing process, I was both surprised and inspired. These are short notes done right, and very well I might add. The staccato has a leisurely stroke with just the right amount of length and discipline to be used in many different ways. It performs with aplomb, and although it does lack some masculinity compared to other libraries, I consider this to be a perfect balance. Then we come to the extra short sautier articulation. I was surprised to find that although staccato has a shorter variant named staccatissimo, the well-known spiccato articulation was never given an official Italian name to describe its shorter variant. So the French filled in that spot and called these short bouncy spiccatos sautier. It's what some other string libraries call tapped spiccato, and this library's recordings of that articulation are second to none. It's light, focused, and it can handle almost any application you throw at it. It's also very fun to play, and you may find yourself being melodically inspired or rhythmically entranced by it like I was when I first played. right now, I don't think any other string library gets these two short notes as perfect as this library, and that's saying a lot. But that being said, let's move on. This library offers a flexible yet slightly cumbersome selection of mic positions that allows you to get the kind of sound you want. Dry and stark, close and intimate, wide and spacious, and what I like to use, detailed and airy by using the rig mics. Because there are at least 2 mono spot mics for each section, you can place the strings where you want, which is neat. Or if you want a wider cinematic sound, you can pan each section's spot mics hard left and right, and it sounds great. You can cover a fair bit of ground with this library. Light string work, cinematic use, dark or romantic pieces, soaring melodies. It's pretty damn balanced, all things considered. But what about those caveats I mentioned earlier? Well, first off, the release notes for the sustains are so quiet and so short, they may as well not be there. I tried going into the instrument and boosting the release sample volume, but it just doesn't suffice. Luckily, the reverb provided is the same as the hall the strings were recorded in, so you can get a natural sounding tail as long as you keep that turned up. Not a deal breaker. Then there's the short note velocity programming. When played softly, the lower dynamics basically disappear into nothing, which sucks. However, a workaround I found was to download and install the velocity scaler plugin from this free plugin site and run my MIDI through it so that my softer playing isn't affected. Just basically by scaling up the velocities I'm inputting. I'll leave a link to that plugin in the description. Crisis averted. Also not a deal breaker, considering how wonderful these short notes are. The deal breaker comes in the form of the library's ambitious pricing. $700 all in. That may very well be a concern for most of you, considering what you get for the price doesn't include extras that this price point commonly offers, such as Bartok pizzicatos, marcatos, sordinos, alternate legatos, collegno, effects, extended trills, and so on. So it's going to be up to you to decide how and where you're going to use the library to get your miles and your money's worth. Audict do have sales from time to time, so keep your eye out for that. As a customer, you have the advantage of buying or not buying, or waiting for a sale. But if you feel the price is simply too high, tell the provider. Just send an email through and let them know your thoughts on the product and its price. And if enough of you request a more reasonable price, who knows? Maybe in the future the provider will eventually oblige you. You are the customer after all. It's your money that helps these companies succeed in what they do, and I believe reasonable user feedback is important to a company's growth and economy. Overall, United Strings of Europe has a great self-unity and balance of sound, and 2 of the best short note articulations of any string library. If someday Audic decides to drop the price and perhaps fix up the releases and velocity mapping, I'll be glad to recommend this to anyone in a heartbeat. And that's that. I'll see you next time with another library. Check you later.